And we are live. Hello, 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 and welcome. I'm Marie Moldovan, and today we have a very special show on Three Amigos Ink and Splatter. We are going to feature a poet by the name of Jowe Horst. Jowe, his sign is Leo. He was married July 4th, 2018. He's the father of two sons, 8 years. Conceived of an ill advised multiplication of 15 and 21, he was raised by his grandparents, a fact that has greatly impacted his worldview. He tends towards rough and raw, and he writes fast because he writes for survival, jet setting the emotions before they drone him. Now, I absolutely adore Zhao's poetry, his writings, his different styles. He's got a vocabulary that is intense, and he tends to basically sync with the universe on his in his writing. It seems that the emotions, the raw emotions in the universe and everything that is going around and going on in the collective comes out in his writing, and he was a very fluid reader of energy. So, Zhao, I would like you to let us know a little bit about yourself, how you got into poetry and so on.
Well, um, I guess the first thing would be it's Joe. It's kind of my personal joke on the whole hooked on phonics thing.
Mm-hmm.
Jowe, the O's long, the E silent, Joe. I don't know. Maybe it's just a Mideast thing, but everybody pronounces my name Joe. So I went with it. As far as the writing goes, it it was a pastime when I was younger. I was really into, oddly enough, I was really into hard math and English. And there's definitely, you know, a relationship there because it, ties into music. I play saxophone. I can plink a thing or two out on the saxophone, or I play saxophone. I can plink a thing or two out on the keyboard, um, bass guitar. But getting that metronome down was definitely part of it too. Uh, Again, it was something fun to do when I was young. But then as I got older and life slapped me in the face a couple times, I started to get down. And you'll see a lot of this in my poetry. It, it just ended up being emoting. I don't know a kinder cyber word for vomiting, but I had to get it out there. And I think a lot of people listening to this will relate to that. That, oh, man, sometimes you got to nick the vein.
Well, and what a wonderful way to emotionally vomit. Instead of taking out the rage and the pain or whatever and or bottling it up, just allowing yourself to put it into a absolute masterpiece, like whether it is art or poetry or whether you're writing in any other form or style. I mean, what an impressive way to be able to do that, to channel it into a masterpiece like you do.
And it's hard to put it out there, but you just one day you wake up and you listen to Carl Sagan, and you're like, we are stardust.
And we quite literally are. I mean, we have the components within our own bloods, and we carry our ancestral ghosts. We are quite literally a collection of everybody that has come before us, embodied in our physical body, and walking forward with all of them as a complete unit. So, I mean, it is amazing when you think of those concepts. Um,
And if you think about it, anybody out there listening, and you're Shakespeare, you're Socrates, you are a part of everyone and everything that's ever been. So don't doubt yourself, just go for it. You might look silly. I probably do right now.
no, you're wonderful. And if anybody listens to this and thinks that you're silly for any reason, I mean, basically, they're judging you from a state of themselves. They're projecting upon you, things that they're playing out in their own field, and they're projecting their inferiority and their self-loathing and so on and so forth. I mean, most people who will judge another person and say, "Oh, you look silly," is either operating from programming that is unhealthy, or they are feeling that about themselves. So, I mean, don't worry about it. Just be you, do your thing. I mean, we're here. We were born and we had our journey, and it is our destiny to be ourselves and bring forward the gifts that we have and present ourselves as our authentic true self. And it is really hard to come to that position to just be, just to love yourself and understand that everything about you is about you for a reason, and you are presented the way you're presented because you have a very special set of gifts. So anybody who would laugh or judge you is not at that place in themselves yet.
Well, yeah, as I've said, it's like the stains that we put upon ourselves by that which we consume. Maybe it makes you a better person in the long run. Maybe you needed to go there and be that. And I don't judge anybody for that. If they don't get it, if they don't want to get it, if they don't like it, that can be completely fine.
I feel that at some point in time, somewhere down the road, they eventually get it. You could spiel off your poem, and they're like, "What in the actual heck did you say? I really don't get it." But they heard it, and then it sits with them for a month or two. And after that month, it's like it's processed. It's almost like you just provided them with a coding, and they just needed the time to work out that code and figure it out. And then once it's been figured out, they're like, "Oh my gosh, I get it. I understand." But it takes them a little bit of time.
Agree completely.
So I'm just going to toss the floor to you and let the audience be awed by your amazing radio voice. And
oh yeah, no build up there.
Amazing radio voice and truly emotive poetry.
Innocence is dead, shot through the head by the evils of technology. I know when I die, no one will cry. They'll ask what they get instead. Knowledge is power, it grows with the hour, and with it, society dies. You say that you're strong, but that won't last long when you see the pain in my eyes. The world keeps changing, my mind keeps raging. Everything's a blur. How much pain will it take to get back to where we were? It's not fitting technology's bidding for our very souls. We must stand now as one and try to regain control. This world keeps changing, my mind keeps raging. Everything's a blur. How much pain will it take to get back to where we were? Never really came up with a title for that one. A lot of mine I don't come up with titles for. It seems a little snappy and catchy, and it either speaks for itself or it doesn't.
I think it does speak for itself, and it leaves the reader open, or the person who is listening to open to. It leaves their imagination open to run wild. So it's beautiful.
That was one of my younger ones. I think I wrote that about 16. I'm gonna go with some of the more recent stuff I wrote now, and then cap off with another one from my youth that was kind of painful, but I don't know. I liked it enough to keep it. It's hard copy with graphite on paper, so I must have thought something of it.
Well,
Here
I'm
we
glad that we will have the chance to hear it.
Let's see here. Bloody Nose of the Mind. Bitter secrets of secrets. A rusty river courses my throat. The claret fights the tide, but I try to emote. A fight club of suppression, but after a pint, it comes out. I'm too nauseous to retain it, but I'm too raw to shout. Um, this one, it was just something stupid I did the other day, and it inspired this. Picking myself up when I fall, I think I'm over it. I feel like I'm crowd surfing in a social distance mosh pit. A lot of these are simple thoughts, fairly concise, but if you've ever been to a concert, think about it. If they're 6 feet apart, yeah, crowd surfing gets fun. I was actually a stagehand for about 20 years. Great job, but you gotta be young. Ring the bell and just leave me alone. Black orchids showing sympathy that I survived like Miss Franklin. Atone. The sharks are playing possum. The eagles fly alone, puffing on a white owl gripped tighter than a ransom. Kind of like a demolition of a wallflower, but my daddy's just not a big Dylan. Neither is he a villain. Flying through red clouds of strawberries and whipped cream, the light hieroglyphs my self-esteem. And yet I find him better in the dark, crashing with the raptures over soaring with a skylark. Pavlov, making my bloody heart bark. And I got to give a shout out on that one because that was actually one of those, what are they called? Scrabble jam things. If you go in and look on the post, there is a prompt that has all those words in it. When we first got together, I needed to look at you all the time. I think I was trying to convince my head that you would actually agree to be mine. I don't regret those things. I've fled a sensory memory that has served me just fine. Now my eyesight is flagging, and let's face it, we're sagging. But like a gift from God, my memory is not yet fading. I could stare at you blind, but in my mind is a beautiful vista of a life divine. I'm no Greek god, not even Roman or Norse, but I will straight up dual wield on a dead horse. Remorse for the source of the force. Put the proverbial cart before the dead horse. And I'll never stop trying, but if I don't work out, that's fine. How many trees y'all really want to kill? Making up your timeline. Dear love life, what an oxymoron I've been. I'm sure you can relate. Dedicating myself to loving her was easy, and dedication to life is instinctual. So my best case becomes that I live to watch her die, or work myself to death procuring for her a better life. I could teach Atlantis a thing or two about irony. But like Pompeii and Atlantis, I dream of escaping to the depths, you see. It's just all a great big joke that was never funny. Balance the love, the hate, the fear, the money. This next one, my dad's hoping to be back tomorrow. He and I live in the same park. He's been down in Detroit for a minute. It's been one of many grains of gravel that have gritted my life. But here we go. So my dad died for a minute yesterday. It wasn't the first time, and thankfully it won't be the last. But for a moment in that ambulance, a familiar stranger had passed. So now I sit and think about my father, my son, and my own unholy past. Lighten it up with a quick one. I went from hip hop to hip hop. And trust me, it wasn't popular. Oh, I still bite. Just more ankles, less jugular. This one actually has a title. It's called Neon Goldfish. Made it 4 years in a 2-gallon. Figured it was time for an upgrade. Got her one of those nifty neon jobs. 5 gallons thinking about neon roommates. Not sure if it was the black lights or all the open space. But when she hit that water, she was freaking out. She was all over the place. I turned to my wife and asked, what should we do? She asked why. She seems to be so excited by her new worldview. Perspective can be a crazy thing. I'm tentatively calling this one Update. Welcome to the future, human version 2.0, where your belly button is a reset button back to factory install. One click, forget your indecision, your addictions, your afflictions, feeling too much, and twist that nipple to turn them down. Sick of feeling like a clown? Calm down. We have an add-on for that. Do you want a link? Or we can come at you factory direct. Your warranty is about to expire. You're only effing 40. You cannot retire. Just get your bloody boots on and get back in the mire. New version's coming soon. That shit will be fire. All right. I'm pulling this one out. I was young when I wrote this. It was my first attempt at non-sing-song, rhymey poetry. It also occurred directly after I rode my bike 60 miles to tell a girl that I liked her. And when she got there, she was like, I am so glad that you're here. I need to tell somebody I just got a new boyfriend. It's not about that, but I can't say it didn't have an effect. A man stumbled blindly down the dark alley to its end, where a ray of moonlight shone upon his dirty, tear-streaked face. There was a chill to the night air, and he pulled the tattered remains of his soul around himself like a blanket. He stood there thinking about his life, his death, and which would be better. There was a movement somewhere from the shadows. "Who's there?" he cried. The darkness did not reply. "Please," he begged. I need someone to help me, to talk to me, to tell me that they care." The darkness knew that he had been seen. He pressed himself into the shadows, thinking. He knew what it was to feel that alone. He knew it all too well. Surely he had nothing to fear from this little man standing in the moonlight. Or did he? Perhaps this little man with his grubby hands, face, this little man without shoes on his blistered feet, dressed in all rags, perhaps this little man could hurt him worse than all the brute strength in the world. The little man collapsed, no longer a little man, but a little boy, made so by his own fears and inadequacies. "Please," he begged, "please help me." The little boy pulled his knees to his chest, as he had when he was actually a little boy, burying his face in his arms. The darkness could take it no longer. He descended upon the boy, embracing him. "Thank you," the little boy said. But the darkness did not reply. "What is your name?" he asked. But the darkness did not reply. The boy, gathering himself into the man he had once been, realized it was pity that kept the darkness there. But he didn't care. It was something, at least. What the little man did not know was that the darkness couldn't answer him, though he wanted to. It was all he could do to keep his sobs silent. Love. Oh, the darkness had forgotten how powerful love was. Besides, death, darkness, answers to no one. Will that do?
That is absolutely amazing. I mean, if people are not sitting there with drool running down the side of their face, I don't know. I mean, I sat here going, oh my gosh, wow. Your poetry is amazing. Your voice is phenomenal. You definitely have a radio voice, and I don't know why you're not out there more often, the spoken word thing. You've got the knack for it, definitely. And I very much enjoyed hearing what you wrote, and I very much am honored by you honoring me with your readings. Um, so, what
Oh,
did you think?
shucks.
Aw. Well, what can I say? Your wife is a lucky woman. Seriously. Yeah. Very lucky indeed. Um, I actually, you two are a very cute couple. I You're a very, very cute couple for sure.
She's my
That's
rock. I mean, she is
I
so much stronger than me,
I can tell
literally and figuratively.
I could tell she seems like a woman you just want to like do anything for and are very lucky to have. Absolutely.
Yeah, she's 5 foot even, 120 some pounds, and I swear that woman could bench press me.
Sounds like my mother, or at least how my mother was. She was 5 foot, yeah, 5 foot nothing, and you definitely wouldn't want to meet her in a dark alley pissed off because she was like a mama bear that would always like, if you did anything to her kids, oh man, better run. But
A
yeah,
ray of sunshine on the right day, a thundercloud on the wrong.
but absolutely worth every second of the day. Okay. Well, thank you very much, and I
I am
hope.
honored. I This came out of left field for me, and I work a graveyard shift. I probably couldn't even tell you accurately what day it is most days of the week, but I'm glad that I sat down and got this out there, and if somebody enjoys it, then I guess it was worth it. I mean, awesome.
I definitely think it was. I mean, your poetry, your spoken word, phenomenal. And thank you very much. And I would like to say thank you to all those who tuned in. I hope you enjoy Joe's poetry. Like I said,
Yes, I want to throw in there too. Yeah, thank you for all that listen and read. I mean,
yeah.
so many of these groups are people posting with nobody listening. They just
Hmm.
skip over until they get to the comments on their stuff. And sometimes that's what you need. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but it is a beautiful thing when we become a community.
Yes, and that's really what I'm striving for here. I wish I could like clone myself, but that actually might be a disaster if there was too many of me running around. I wish I could clone myself and provide everybody that's in the community, the Three Amigos and Splatter community, more attention. Um, because I really want it to be a strong community. I feel that when artists come together and show each other appreciation, we grow together. And artists and poets, we actually have the power to influence society, and we have the power to transform emotions and put it out there in a way that allows another individual to be able to read it and express in ways that maybe they couldn't express without our words. So when we influence and we encourage each other, we grow as people, we grow as a community, and we help our world grow as well. So
And
please.
I have to give props to this woman. I mean, she has coaxed me out of my shell so much that there's a good chunk of the poetry you heard that just wouldn't have happened if she hadn't shown an interest. I mean, I needed to do it, but I probably wouldn't have done it publicly if not for Marie.
Aw, now I'm blushing over here. Thank you. Thank you. Well, like I said, you have your poetry is raw, it's from the heart, and it's very, I swear to gosh, you are like a psychic and can read the you almost translate the heartbeat of earth and the collective and put it into words. And I mean, that needs to be heard. It does.
Let,
So keep up the good work, man. I mean,
Blessed be.
blessed be, and thank you very much. Have a nice evening and weekend, whichever it is for the audience that is out there listening. And thank you once again, Joe. Thank you.